Today I'm here with my good friend Sean Carney. Sean has moved out into the country and he has a fantastic rainwater catchment system that we're going to show you what he's done. And Sean, first of all, why don't you just tell us why? Why would you do something like this?
Well, you know, there was a little pandemic a while back, and that pandemic made us very aware that things were becoming unstable quickly, and we figured it's time to move to the country. We did a little homework, and we were looking for inexpensive land, lots of rain, long growing season, and we settled on Arkansas. We get about 58 inches of rain here, and we wanted to make sure that we could take advantage of that rain, not just while it's raining. And so that's why we put in the water catchment system.
So this is something that you can water your fruit trees, you can water your garden, and in a pinch, if you had to, you could even use it for water for your family to drink if you use the filter.
We're really using it for the garden.
Gotcha. So. Yeah. But explain how you looked at the space on your roof, the square footage.
We have 24 by 30, which is the roof size, and so when you run the formula, we realized that our roof would collect 16,000 gallons of water every year at 58 inches of rain. And then we also had another little math, which was when you go to order these tanks, which by the way came from a company in Australia that makes the tanks, they want you to have 6 feet on either side, so you have to make a slab that's quite a bit bigger than the diameter of their tank.
Okay, gotcha.
So that also was going to be a limiting factor. So we finally realized, okay, they have a 17-foot wide tank. That's the tank we can use with the space we have allotted to it. And then they have it in 2 heights, 7.5 feet or 9.5 feet. And we wanted more, so we got the 9.5 feet.
So one of the things that's beneficial when living, actually in any situation, but especially living out in the country, is redundancy. So having backups in case something's not working, especially because you don't live, a few minutes from a city or something like this, and you can't depend on everything that you would have in the city. And so in this situation, you have redundancies. Maybe you could explain a little bit.
There was a well.
Okay.
It was an old well. It didn't cost very much to put a submersible pump into it and to get that operational. And so we set that up and we ran that water right next to the location where the water tank is going to be. And the reason is that the well is the secondary backup system we have. So if there's not enough rain, we have water that we can take from the well. We actually can pump quite a lot of water out of that well. We get about 1,000 gallons an hour.
Wow.
So we put 5,000 gallons into our tank just to hold it down after it was installed. It took about 5 hours. And that is our safety net. If there's not rain, then at least we know we can fill up the tank. And we will be using all our irrigation for the garden out of that tank from now on, hopefully always using rainwater.
Yeah, one of the things that's very beneficial for anybody that's ever gardened, you can either use your well water or municipal water, but most people are going to want to water with something like a well because obviously it's free, other than maybe a little bit of electricity. But if you've ever seen after a rain, plants grow so much better from the nitrogen that you get in the rain that you don't generally have from your well water. And so because of that, having a system like this just seems like a great way to go.
It's exactly what we wanted. Rainwater is the best water. There's nothing like it.
There's a slight slope in the gutters. Now, obviously you have to have that. So as the water is coming down from the roof, it's catching in the gutters, and it's, how much of a slope about do you have going on?
1/8 of an inch for every foot.
So you have standard gutters, and these make their way to some pipes that finally bring it to the actual tank.
Yes, and we went with the seamless gutters. And I would recommend don't go with any other gutter. Yeah. They just come in this one big long gutter, no leaks. It's really wonderful. And then from there, it's just a little downspout. It's about 3 inches down. And all we did was take a PVC elbow and put it up so the downspout fits into the elbow. And that worked. So I've learned something here, which is this is a Schedule 40 PVC. And I bought all Schedule 40. It's very heavy, made it quite a bear for me to put it all up. And then I realized afterwards I could have used the drainage pipe 3-inch, which is less expensive and lighter.
Would have been easier to work with.
Would have been easier. But I'm glad I went with the Schedule 40 because we get some horrendous winds here, and the heavier weight I think is better for mounting it to the wall. So you have a choice, and then you'll see this hook I have here. These are called J hooks. And when I was getting started, I was really scratching my head about how I was going to do it. These little J hooks allowed me to make a little bracket that basically spans the window, which was in the very center of our barn, and which didn't need to be there, but it was there. And I needed to make sure I wasn't going to break the window or anything with these pipes. And that's why I have the rubber gasket that I bought them on Amazon. I bought a 10-foot piece of, I think they're about 1 inch thick, and it's 1/4 of an inch thick, about 1 inch wide. And these are multiple benefits. They helped hold the thing out from the wall a little bit, which was very helpful to me. And they also seal so that when you're punching holes, ours was sheet metal, but when you're punching holes through your building, these then, when you tighten it up, seal it and make it remain waterproof. So it was very useful. They came with little nails. You can buy these at both Home Depot and Lowe's, and I'm sure other places. They're very inexpensive, but the nails didn't seem strong enough to me. So I put in some number 6 screws that worked, except that these heads are very difficult to get in to old wood. So I ended up afterwards taking them out and replacing them with 8x2 sheet metal screws that have the type of head that you can actually grab. And I would recommend this. They're number 8, which means they bit into the plastic a little bit, so they're not going to go anywhere. They have a ladder inside that hangs off the edge, and that's very useful. So, you know, it has big warnings, don't enter, but how do you know that some kid isn't going to get curious?
Yeah.
If you had the ladder on the outside, which is an option, they could get in the tank and never get out again. So we put the ladder on the inside. So if anybody does, and we use just carry ladders there whenever we want to get in.
And they suggest that too, don't they? To
They
keep the
do.
ladder on the inside.
They
It
suggest,
makes sense. If you're
yeah.
gonna climb up there, get your own ladder on the outside out, put that there, and
Yeah.
leave the one on the inside.
And I have a valve that allows me to fill up the tank if I needed to with well water. I could also open a different valve that would send that water all the way into the garden.
Once you have enough water in the tank that's actually usable, you have the outlet to the tank, and maybe you can talk about that.
This is without, this is not pressurized.
Okay, so this is just...
This is natural gravity flow coming out of the tank.
Okay, okay.
And then as soon as we turn on the pressure, so the water outlet gives me quite a bit of pressure for drip irrigation. In fact, I probably have enough to run at least the 15 pounds and possibly the 25 pounds just out of the tank without any pump.
If all electricity failed, you didn't have any kind of system,
As long as we have water in that tank, we should be able to
water your plants.
water our plants. So at this point, I haven't set up any timers, but we will. But the actual pump that's on the ground next to the water tank, it is all controllable by an app on an Android app, and you can turn it on and off at will, and you can set times when it comes on and when it comes off. And so we'll be doing that for the main, turning the water on and off so we can water early in the morning even before we wake up. And then we will also be setting timers out in the garden so we can have some areas that just don't get watered even though the system is on.
So that's part of the Grundfos pump. Like the app and the pump have this,
Yes.
They're connected.
They're connected by Bluetooth. The Grundfos Scala 1, which is the pump that we bought the Grundfos Scala 1. It is a very popular pump. If a person is going to use the Grundfos on the ground or you build it into a shed pump, then it's very important that they prime that pump before they start using it. We didn't have to prime the pump because we had water in the tank, which is higher than the level of the pump. So as soon as we opened the pump up, it filled everything with water.
Okay.
So we didn't need to prime.
So
but
it'll damage it if you don't have any, any water in
yeah,
it.
they totally warn you, do not run this pump without priming it.
Good to know.
So.
How has it been moving from a city to a deep rural area? How's that been for you?
We are very impressed with country living because we always thought we knew our neighbors. But like you say, we never expected kind of the circle of what a neighborhood is, as we have seen here. So, you know, you have your family and you have your good friends and the people you work with, but there's this other circle called neighbors. And these neighbors will do that. We couldn't find our septic tank. And one of the neighbors is like, I'll just bring over the backhoe and we'll dig it up. So that's the, you know, these people, they don't drive BMWs, they don't drive Porsches, they drive GMCs, but they also drive John Deere and Kubota.
Yeah.
And those John Deere and Kubota are very helpful when you're living in the country. The homes here are small, the land is big, the barns are big, the shops are big. It's just a different mentality. And people are not, like, I don't think I've seen any granite counters and, you know, all the different fanciness in a home, in anybody's home. And some of these people are very well off, but that's just not what's important to them. What's important to them is independence, autonomy, and that's, I think, what needs to be important to all of us right now.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for showing us your rainwater catchment system and letting us on your property. It's been a real blessing. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications. God bless and have a fantastic day.